We wish to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land we are producing on, the Whadjuk people. We wish to acknowledge and respect their continuing culture and the contribution they make to the life of this city and this region.
Hi guys, welcome to Project Sweet, Loud, Untamed Tarts, or as we know it, Project
Slut. I'm a slut.
Project S.L.U.T, the show that educates and entertains all things sex in an inclusive and positive way. Let's put power back into being a slut and fight back slut shaming with your host, Lavi.
Welcome back to another episode of Project S.L.U.T. Today we'll be starting our new sub-series, QUEERSPLAINIng. These episodes will centre around topics all things queer, from politics to transitioning, hoping to educate and entertain all things queer. We'll cover it all, and in our first episode, we talk about our experience at Pride, identifying our own sexuality, and a very interesting interview with an ex-homophobe. All that coming to you now. We are already halfway through season 2. Can you believe it?
I know. It feels like it was just like yesterday that we just started doing like season 1, and now we're like season 2, and now we're like halfway, and it's crazy. It's going too fast.
I know, and like the year's gone too fast as well. Like we're almost at Christmas time now.
I know, and I'm getting so much anxiety about like Christmas shopping. I haven't even done it yet, and like half my friends and family are like, "Oh, I've done my shopping," and I'm like, yeah, I'll be that person that does it like Christmas Eve.
I know. I feel like if you don't do your Christmas shopping now, it just escapes you, and then it's already Christmas. Yeah, not a fan. Tell me what you thought about the last episode we did with Poor Boy and Mateo. How did you find it?
I thought it was super cool. Like when Mateo explained like the step-by-step, process with how, like a male erection happens, like that was like super, inciting for me, and just understanding, and like the way he explained it, like it was really clear, and yeah, like it was, Poor Boy, he's always cool to have as like a guest. He's like super funny and all that, and yeah, it was cool like understanding, like the types of, I guess, like enhancement, like pills and like stuff you can take out there, and the whole like mental health side, men's health, so that was really cool. Yeah.
And you and I are both committing to trying the Famagra, the female Viagra that they mentioned on their podcast.
Yes, I'm so excited to try that. And yeah, I will not be trying Camagra again. So that's an absolute no, not happening.
Hopefully we can try the female Viagra soon, and then we can give you guys an update about what it was like.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited for that, because like I'm naturally someone that has like quite a low sex drive. Like it's like sex isn't something that I need to have every single day. Like I can have a few breaks like here and there kind of thing. So we'll see how we go.
It'll be good. Okay, so before we start talking about today's topic, which is all about our time at Pride last night, we're going to give the people what they want and continue our segment of what I'm calling now Montana's Munchies.
Montana's Munchies.
Yeah. And so I've brought an eye mask, as you can see.
It's very cute eye
mask. It's from Breakfast at Tiffany's. It was a present.
Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Yep. So I actually put it on the story this morning if we should give you something good to eat or something bad to eat. And more people voted for something good to eat. And I'm just like, that's no fun. Why are people so nice to you all of a sudden?
Like I was so down for having something absolutely vile in my mouth. Like something that I've never tried, where like my whole face is just like seizing up, and then all my faces and all the things. But yeah, everyone's being nice today. So thank you to everyone who voted something nice.
And I'm not being nice because I have something not very nice to give you.
Oh, so
I'm not listening to the people. Fuck, everyone's so nice today. I'm just like, no, I don't want to be nice. Okay, so we're going to start doing these on our Instagram lives. I can't always guarantee you that it'll be on a Sunday, but for now, we're doing it today. So can you give me your phone? I'm going to go on live on both of ours.
Yep.
We'll set this up.
Okay, I can't see anything.
You can't see anything?
No.
Is it comfortable?
It is. It's all right.
Okay, so we're here. We're filming episode 5. All about Pride, and we're going to give Montana something not nice to eat because I don't want to listen to anyone and give her something nice. I'm a bit of an ass like
Listen
that.
to the people.
No, I'm not listening to people. Okay, so I'm going to pass you a container.
Oh, a container.
Yeah, I'm going to open it first. And
It better not be an insect. Like a delicacy insect or something.
alright, I'm sliding it over to you. Put your hand in.
Oh, this smells like dog food.
It's not dog food.
Oh, mate.
I'm not giving you dog food.
It smells like a treat that I give my dog. Oh, no. Oh, God.
Alright. When you're ready, we have a lot of people watching.
It smells salty.
You're used to that.
Oh, for God. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my God. Is there a bin just in case I need to, like, spew?
No, there's a nap. Here, I'll give it. Hold on, wait. Here's a paper towel just in case.
I'm not swallowing.
You have to. You have to at least give it a few bites, remember? We might like it. Alright, you ready?
It tastes like fish.
Do you like it? She didn't make that, did you?
Oh, that literally tastes like a sardine.
You're not far off it.
Oh,
you
it's a fish, isn't it?
It definitely, yeah, no, it's a fish. It's it's deep fried anchovies. Take your mask off. Oh shit.
I hate anchovies. Oh my God. There's one person who will be listening who knows how much I hate anchovies. Like, I had to, like, ask the waiter the last time we went out for dinner. I was like, I just can't have anchovies. Like, I will throw up.
Not a good experience.
No. Oh, yuck. All right.
Take your mask off. That was so good. I love that. So many people.
Why?
That was so good. I love that. That was absolutely
Now I know why
fantastic.
you were like, bring chocolate
just
so I
in
can
case.
like take the taste out of my mouth.
Yeah. Our new segment, Montana's Munchies.
Has a good ring to it.
Yeah. I like alliteration. Has the chocolate make you feel better?
Yes, it's definitely taken away the saltiness of that anchovy.
Yeah. So are we liking this segment or what? I feel like this is a great one.
It's pretty fun, but I think we should listen to the people next time
And give you something
give
nice.
me something
Hey,
nice.
look, I like this. A lot of people do. So just because you don't
There
like
is
it,
something very wrong with you.
it's called being Asian, okay? All right, so maybe we can like alternate weeks. Like 1 week we'll give you something like maybe nicer that you haven't tried. And then the next week we'll give you something that I definitely know you wouldn't like. Do you know what I mean?
I'm down for that.
Because I feel like maybe I could give you like a cool new candy next week. But then the week after that I could give you like chicken liver or some shit. I was actually out once with Pool Boy and he's so like doesn't like trying new things and they brought around chicken livers and I was like yeah it's really good. Like no, it wasn't chicken livers, it was chicken heart. And I was just like, yeah, you should try it, you should try new things. And I made him try it and he hated it and he was like, oh, it's my turn. I was like, oh, I've never tried chicken heart. I just manipulated him into trying it because I don't want to try it myself.
I have had snails before though. The French
Escargot?
delicacy, yeah. And I didn't mind it. Like it was saturated in so much butter, and like I think there was like parsley or something on there.
Yeah.
And I thought it was going to taste absolutely disgusting, but it wasn't like bad. Would I have it again? Probably not. But I tried it.
I think I just remember it tasting quite chewy. I had it in Belgium and it kind of tasted like butter and just a bit of spice. It didn't taste like anything.
I think if you think of like the snails in your garden, it will make you throw up, like just the thought of it. But if you look like, okay, this is like a snail that you eat, it's like a delicacy.
Let's go to today's topic of pride and our new series, Queersplaining. So firstly, queer is just a term used to describe a range of sexual orientations and gender identities. It's just an umbrella for all things in that community. And specifically today, we're going to be talking about pride.
I had so much fun at Pride.
Yeah, so what was your expectations of pride and what was it like when we were walking and we had our signs and everyone was cheering?
I think because like I've never done like a parade kind of thing before, so I was just expecting, us to rock up with some signs, like, walk through the street. I was not expecting the amount of people that were there. And like when we kind of got to like the middle part of like, the parade, the walk.
In the middle of Northbridge.
Yeah, like people were like cheering and like, like high-fiving everyone and stuff. And I was just like, whoa, like there was like so much energy and like excitement like just in that space. And it was a really cool, uplifting experience. And yeah, I think I said to you like 5 times, like the energy right now is off the chart, like it's insane.
Yeah,
it's so fun.
I feel like the energy was just not what I was expecting at all.
Same.
I think one of the cool things was, and one of our friends mentioned it to us afterwards, was that particularly our group we were walking with Magenta, which we'll talk about a bit later. We were walking through with signs basically supporting the decriminalisation of sex work. And we had signs like no bad whores, just bad laws. And I have video footage of when our particular group was walking past, and people, you could see on their faces reading our signs.
Yeah, they were reading
and
them,
then just screaming and like pointing at our signs and being like, fuck yes, this is it. Like, support your sex workers. And I don't know if you remember hearing the person on the mic when we would walk past certain points would be introducing our group.
Yeah.
And saying, you know, we support sex workers and all that sort of stuff. And people were just like so happy.
Yeah.
People were just like, yeah, this is amazing. And I remember thinking, how cool is this? Like, there are so many people who are allies with us. And I loved being able to carry our sign and our logo and people taking photos of it, and just getting to walk with people that align with what we believe in, and seeing so many people support that was really cool.
Yeah, like it's like, I know in Sydney when they have like their pride, you know, like weeks and everything, and it's just like a never ending like party. Like it almost felt like I was in Sydney, like walking through like the streets, and you know, everybody was cheering and happy and, you know, supporting like every group that was walking through the street. And yeah, it was super cool, like awesome.
Yeah, I definitely think that next year we are going to be, but I think definitely next year we're going to go all out and have big floats and big signs and have
and
a real
DJ.
big, and a DJ, yeah. What did we say we were going to have? We were going to have pink clouds, and we're going to have the Teletubbies.
We did.
And we're going to have, I reckon we should have some glitter cannons as well. I think that would be fun.
Yeah, let's go all out. Let's just make it a massive thing.
Yeah, this is our pledge for 2023.
Yeah.
2023 Pride. We'll have the biggest fuck off DJ float with pink cannons and the Teletubbies.
The biggest fuck off. I love that.
Okay, so I really enjoyed Pride. You really enjoyed Pride. One of the reasons we did Pride was because we joined Magenta, which is an organisation in WA that advocates for sex worker rights and the decriminalisation of sex work.
Yeah, so for our listeners who don't know about Magenta, like you briefly touched on, so Magenta is a peer-based project dedicated to providing services to support and promote the health and safety of people involved in the sex industry in Western Australia for all female, male and transgender workers in the community, which is super cool. So some of their services include clinic appointments free of charge. They are anonymous and confidential. There is no Medicare card needed, and you don't need to use your full name, which is also really cool. And they also provide free STI, HIV, hepatitis testing along with contraception advice. And they have friendly female doctors as well, which is nice. So yeah,
that's really good. They're a really good organisation. They're doing a lot of work in our community for our sex workers.
Yeah, and they also provide you know, like some products as well, like condoms, lubricants, like dams, gloves, finger cots, sponges and toys as well. So all the good things.
Yeah, we are definitely keen to keep working with Magenta and promoting what they do, because like I said, they do a lot of work for the people in our community that are sex workers. And one of the things from the parade that I loved was that our group was chanting sex work is real work.
I really liked hearing that.
And it was unreal. Like, I feel like I was so taken back, and hearing other people in the crowd shouting it back at us, and it was so cool because you just don't see that kind of attitudes in your day-to-day life. So when you see it, it's just awesome. And like they're saying, sex work is real work. I mean, we know so many sex workers. I mean, I used to work at an establishment, and so I met so many different kinds of people, and it's hard. It's not an easy job. It's just like any other job, and honestly, it's probably a lot harder than most big jobs. Like, most people would not be able to do sex work. So the work that Magenta is doing, advocating and providing services for sex workers, is really cool.
Yeah, we'll definitely put all the details in the description when we post the next episode, so everyone can find where they are and their number and stuff.
Yeah, they can definitely support that. So we're going back to Pride, and there were lots of different groups at Pride, you know, advocating for different things. You know, like there was like a trans group, and there was, you know, LGBT and disabilities, and there were lots of different health organisations like AIDS WA and like Magenta. And there were also lots of different flags. And I really liked the different flags because I feel like they give people like a sense of like purpose and a sense of identity. Like you might feel a bit lost within your gender and your sexuality, and so having like something represent it was really cool. So magenta had red umbrellas, which is what I was told was the symbol for sex workers alliance.
Alliance, yeah.
Alliance. So yeah, that was really cool. So we all kind of almost made me feel like kind of Mary Poppins like when everyone's like walking in our group with like their umbrellas.
I love the little red umbrellas. Thought they were really cool.
I thought it was a really cute symbol. So I was there obviously as an ally, and so were you, for the sex workers. We were talking about this just before we started about your own sexual identity. And you identify as bisexual?
I would say so, yeah.
So when I was doing, back a couple of years ago, my thesis, I was focusing a lot on how bisexuality is invisible for a lot of people who identify as bisexual. So what I mean by that is that a lot of women, because women are seen as soft and within the male gaze, women are submissive, it's sort of almost normal for a woman to want to be with another woman. Whereas bisexuality amongst men, it's more so like they're not really bi, because you can't really be into men and women. But for a woman it's okay because, you know, women are soft and women are like gentle.
Yeah.
And when we look at bisexuality from like a societal point of view, bisexual people can also be portrayed as not being able to choose, and they are one of the most slut-shamed groups amongst the LGBTQ society, because people just look at them as like, oh, they just want a bit of that and they want a bit of that, and it's not how it works.
Yeah, kind of like try a little bit of this, bit of that, and yeah. So I think when I was 25, that was probably the age where, you know, I was clearly attracted and like sexually attracted to men. But then I think being in the city and like moving to the city where there's, you know, a lot more people and things are a bit more open in that sense, and, you know, going to, you know, parties like hedonism and threesome parties and things like that, I think it kind of opened my mind a lot more, and where I kind of thought, okay, like I shouldn't be ashamed of telling a female that I think she's attractive, and, you know, if we vibe and like I asked to kiss her, and then, you know, it could be more. So I think growing up in quite a traditional family, the whole kind of bisexual side of stuff was quite frowned upon. Like my parents were very like, no, like you're to marry a man, you're meant to have kids and things like that. Like, you know, you're not like, you're a female, Adam and Eve kind of thing. So I think that's probably was like the turning point for me when I moved to Perth and I started to, you know, explore myself a lot more. I see like a particular type of female that I find attractive, and, you know, I kind of get that vibe to want to do some more things with her. Like I'm not ashamed to, you know, like tell that to her, and like I don't feel ashamed anymore for like feeling that way towards women. So
that's a really nice way to put it, that you don't feel ashamed, because you shouldn't feel ashamed if it feels natural to you. Yeah.
And I think having it, you know, as like a bit of a secret for like a few years, because it was so like, no, you can't do that, then I just would go, oh, okay, no worries. And then, you know, like I'd see someone attractive and I'd look away, it would be awkward, like, oh, like this is wrong. But like you like what you like. So
does any of your family or friends back home, is it something you identify with on a day-to-day basis?
It's with like my family in general, I keep that quite private. But in terms of like it kind of changes from like, I guess, like day to day. Like some days I could be like, you know, oh yeah, I'm keen to like have like, you know, some chats with a girl or whatever. But then other times I'm just more kind of like directed, like focused around just men kind of connection. So if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I find that normally, in my experience, guys tend to be a bit more like inclined or more sexually interested in a woman when they say that they're bisexual. Have you ever noticed that?
I have actually. Like when I was having a chat with a few of my friends, and they were like, oh, so like, you know, do you like play with women and stuff? And I'm like, yeah, like sometimes. It all just really depends on the vibe and if I'm attracted to them and things like that. And they're like, oh, that's so hot, like, oh my god, like let's have a threesome. And I'm like, wait, no, like that's not what I'm trying to say. Like you asked me a question about if I'm bi, that's not like a invitation for you to be like, cool, all right, this is the girl we can have a threesome with. That's kind of like what I get when like I tell guys like that kind of stuff. They just would think with their dicks, obviously, and their egos.
Yeah, it's one of those things, like I said before, it's about society and how the visibility of bisexuality and women being submissive, and it's almost like men see that as like an opportunity, like you said, to have a threesome. And I mean, I could probably say a lot of people who identify as bisexual probably aren't into threesomes. They just, they like men, they like women. They don't necessarily, aren't automatically into group play because of that.
Like I do find that like I can be quite dominant with women, which is quite interesting. So when I'm obviously with like a male, obviously I quite like being like in like the submissive kind of headspace, but then when I'm with like a female, I instantly kind of click into that dominant headspace, and like over the years it's something that I enjoy doing. So yeah, I guess it's not really like a soft to soft like female connection. It's like like
big dick energy.
Yeah. Exactly.
I feel like a lot of people who are a bit more open with their sexuality find, like you said, you are more femme and submissive when you're with men, but you turn on this masculine energy when you're with women.
Yeah, and it's like fucking great. Yeah, like I've always, I guess, been intrigued, and because I think where that comes from is, being like quite submissive with men, and then obviously doing like a lot of like my dominatrix stuff for work, and like having a few female clients, and then kind of enjoying that, having that aspect, with women, I guess, outside of like my, like dominatrix jobs and stuff. So, but yeah, so it's very interesting.
Do you think, you said you were 25 when you kind of had this turning point. Do you feel like part of you repressed a lot before that?
It was almost like a dark cloud, like I wasn't like showing my true like identity, and it just, like I just felt awkward and like anxious and full of a lot of anxiety all the time, because in my mind I got told it's wrong, so I would never act on it, but I would still think about it. But then the older I got, I was just like, I just had like a fuck it moment, like I'm into this, and it's something that like I'm probably going to be into. You like what you like, and that's how it is.
Yeah, and I feel like it's very brave of you to be able to come out and say that. Like you said, a lot of people fetishize bisexual people. A lot of people have assumptions. I mean, you come from a stricter upbringing, so there is like a lot of reasons why it's like, not super open, but it's always really nice to have people come up and be so open with their lives.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people would resonate with you, especially a lot of women who are bisexual and either feel wrong about it or feel like as soon as they say they are bisexual, it's like an open door for guys to be like creeps and be like, yeah, let's have a fucking threesome.
Yeah, it happens way too much, and it's super triggering, and doesn't end well when someone says that to me. Oh yeah, cool, let's have a threesome then. I'm like, no, you can actually go jump off the bridge. So
I wonder if it happens to bisexual males. I mean, I only know 2 guys who identify as bisexual. I actually don't know that many males, and I don't know if that's because of stigma around men being bisexual, because being bisexual means you can also be masculine and feminine, because in our society people want to categorize you as either or.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of men don't want to be categorized as feminine, so they hide that part of their sexuality away, even though they are.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's why a lot of places like Steamworks exists, and those kind of underground gay clubs, because a lot of men just are quite afraid to come out and be themselves.
Yeah, and that's kind of really sad.
I mean, I would love to know more about what it's like being a bisexual man, because you do have a lot of different stereotypes. Even within the gay community, you do have stereotypes. I mean, that's just like how our world functions. We always like to label things.
Yeah.
So I feel like it would be pretty interesting getting to know it from their point of view.
Maybe that can be someone we can have on as
if
a guest next time.
If there's a bisexual male out there, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, we would.
I think it's like, I feel like getting a lot of different point of view, I mean, like you're bisexual, this man could be bisexual, but your thought processes and the way society approaches you are going to be very, very different. Just like a gay man and a gay woman would have very different experiences in society. And I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but something that we studied was that men don't usually have to prove that they're gay, whereas like women, if they're like a lesbian, it's kind of like, oh, are you sure? You could probably still be with a man if you wanted to. It's really hard for women to prove their sexuality and if they like women or not.
Well, like a lot of people, like I guess like before they meet me, and then when I do say, oh yeah, like I would say I'm bisexual, they're like, what, really? Like, but you're so pretty and you're so femme. Like you
I hate that.
Like really? And I'm like, yeah, like damn straight. Like I'll happily, make out with a cutie, like do all the things. And they're like, oh, that's so interesting. Like, because I would think, the typical bisexual female would be a little bit more masculine.
Kind of like Ruby Rose.
Yeah, kind of thing. And I'm like, no.
I think that's just the way, like I said, society likes to label people, and it's just hard for women to be gay or bisexual, and so they want to picture the people who are like that, who identify with being gay, as very like masculine looking women. You don't think that, it's like a feminine girl would be into girls. You think the opposite. And that's like a problem on TV. I don't know if you ever noticed, like when lesbians are portrayed, they're always very, very beautiful.
Yeah.
They're very feminine.
Stunning, yeah.
It's not an accurate portrayal of what all lesbians look like, because you get so many different types.
There's so many different types.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I question my own sexuality, like with Ruby Rose, because I'm like, oh my God, you are so pretty.
Yeah, she's an absolute babe. And she's, used to be a model, I think.
Yeah. I think she's just... And when she was in Orange is the New Black, I was like frothing.
Oh my God, don't even get me started about that show.
I actually really enjoyed that show.
Yeah, so did I.
I was like late to the wagon on this one, but I remember I think it was 3 or 4 seasons had already been out before I started watching it, and I was up till 5 o'clock in the morning binging that show. It was so good.
It's pretty addictive.
But I liked that show because a lot of the women on there were characters that were gay or bisexual, but there was so many different types of women. So you had the really feminine girls, then you had the really masculine girls, you had girls that ordered both, different cultures. So I know that they had Asians and African Americans and Caucasian people be gay. There was a very good representation of a mix of lesbians on that show, I feel.
Yeah, it's a good mix, I reckon.
Let's take a short break.
So, how's your day been?
Yeah, it's been good. Just another day, another dollar.
Oh yeah, what'd you get up to?
Oh, I just had work. Early starts, early finish.
Nice.
So I get to come down and help you out with the podcast.
Yeah, well, I wanted to say thank you for helping us do the signs for Pride. It was insane. We missed you there, but it was a lot of fun, and the sturdiness of the signs was great, and also people reading our signs was a lot of fun.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm glad I could contribute in any way I could have. It's a shame that I missed out, unfortunately, but we'll be there next time.
Yes, definitely. And Mon and I vowed to, and with one of our listeners, who's listening right now, that we're going to have a big fuck off float next year. And we're going to have pink clouds. We're going to have Teletubbies. Why is that funny?
Shotgun Bing Po.
Well, this guy actually shotgun being the baby, so it was weird.
Who's this?
The son.
I know who the baby is in Teletubbies, but okay, who has shotgun being the baby?
Oh, I'll let that listener remain anonymous.
Oh, okay.
But it's going to be a lot of fun. And so, yeah, we had Pride on Saturday, and obviously this episode's all about Pride, and we're just kind of dabbling into a little bit about the LGBTQ community. Okay, so from from some of the discussions you and I have had, over time, you've made it quite clear how your shifts in morale have changed towards the LGBTQ community. And I found it really interesting because I've grown up quite accepting being around a lot of people who are okay with the community, with people being gay and people being trans. Obviously I have been exposed to homophobia, but it's never been something that's been a part of my own thought process.
Yes, that's correct. Really well put together there, Lavinia. I really appreciate that. Yes, you are correct. Okay, listeners, so being from a conservative and a religious household, my parents are not homophobic, nor my relatives. They were pretty positive in terms of the societal views on homosexuality. And so even from where my parents are from, originally, homosexuality is quite prevalent in society there as well. We have these certain people who identify themselves nor he nor she, right? And they've been living in said country for centuries, right? They have both female and male genitalia. They're very loving people, and my parents have always had utmost respect for them. So has my cousins, relatives, friends, family. But when it comes down to the homophobia side of things, this is very uncomfortable for me to say on live, but at one point, majority of my life, I was quite homophobic. However, having said that, I kept those views to myself. I never discussed them with anyone.
So, you'd grow up in a household that was conservative and religious, yet you had this homophobic view to yourself. How did you realize that you had homophobic views? Like, what made you think this is why I'm the way I am?
It's because I am a straight male. Just the thought of a male being with another male in a sexual way, I just thought like, wow, that's really different. Being indifferent because of that made me feel like a little bit narrow-minded. I mean, looking back at it, I was quite narrow-minded, thinking in that sort of way, and I just thought that seems a little bit wrong. Also, some of the YouTube videos you'll see, and some of the people they used to hang out with, not anymore. Just the conversations with those certain people in that group, we would sort of discuss it. However, I would keep my views to myself, but those discussions would come up, and just all that would impact in a way where I would find it so left-bound, having two people of the same gender, loving each other.
So you couldn't fathom the concept of same-gender love?
Yes.
And being surrounded by other people who sort of had similar views to you kind of fed into that.
People can't influence my own opinion, and I like to make my own decisions.
Obviously, you've given us a bit history on, the way you thought and the way your mindset was. Obviously, it's changed now. So what was that turning point for you, and when was that?
Excellent question. So the change point in my life, I would say, was in 2018. And I decided to actually sit down with myself and go through all my views in life and work out all those things where what I don't like about myself and what I like about myself, what I need to improve on. So in 2018, I made a lot of changes in my life, and I decided to look into homosexuality in a positive light. Looking into things, into documentaries, podcasts, lecturers talking about why has homosexuality come about, or what's the history of homosexuality to say, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, for a very, very long time, homosexual people have been beaten, prosecuted, and just looked down upon in society, right? Mm-hmm. So why would anyone choose to be a homosexual in a society that doesn't accept them?
Yeah, it makes sense. It's like you're choosing to be persecuted.
Exactly. So that made me question, like, no one just gets up in the morning and decides to, be homosexual. Mm. So it made me question, like, okay, there must be something behind the scenes, something chemistry-wise, or, what's the history behind it? So I did a bit of research, a bit of digging, very slowly, didn't talk to anyone about it. So that happened in the back of my mind, and I sort of changed my perspective. I went from being a homophobic person to being very neutral about it, right? And I've felt a lot of racism and a lot of discrimination in my life, and some of the people who I've met who've actually loved me for the person who I am, a majority of them have been homosexual people. In my previous job, I had met a lot of homosexual people.
Could you just please tell people what you did, because it sounds a bit odd that you just had a lot of homosexual people come through your work.
Okay, so I worked as a limousine driver. And with being a limousine driver, you get to meet all sorts of people from all walks of life and things like that. Having said that, one day I had a job, right, where I had picked up an older gentleman from a very fancy place, right? And it was just him by himself. He hopped in my limousine, dressed to the nines, amazing, all in white, and he had such a genuine vibe to him. However, I could tell he was very nervous. So in my head, I'm thinking, I hope it's not me making him feel uncomfortable, because like it's just him and I. But later on, went down and picked up his date, and his date also a very good looking man, young bloke. Anyways, they're in the back, and I'm just driving. We get to a nice fancy hotel and restaurant, and I let them out. I had such a wonderful time with them. Although I didn't speak to them at all during the ride, they had their own time. And then I realized, this is why he was nervous. It wasn't me making him feel uncomfortable. That was one client, which I will never forget. Anyways, later on in that year, that client had booked me again, and I had to pick them up from an event. Now, I did not know that this was a client that I had before. This was a busy night. So I'm talking to this person on the phone. I'm like, hey, I'll pick you up from there. And I was quite, in a way, frustrated, but his voice was just so calming. It's like he's speaking to my soul. And I'm just like, it's like I know this person, right? He comes around, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I know him, but I don't know if he recognizes me. Anyways, we get to have a chat, and he tips me a very handsome amount, right? And I'm like, thank you very much. And he compliments me. I'll never forget it. He said I was very hot. I was like, it's my work. I'm wearing my work outfit. And I said to him, hey, I recognize you. I've had you in before. I can't remember the conversation, but I was so glad that I had him again. And that night happened to be Pride night. So I took them from the event on the coast down to the city, where they went to the court. And he was so nice of him to invite me out. So I said, yes, I'm down. I'm keen. I'm so keen to go. I always have a change of clothes, because on the weekends, changed my clothes, went to the city for the event, and it was one of the most fun nights I've ever had at Pride Parade. At Pride night, one of the most nicest times, most fun, and I just felt so comfortable surrounded by people who are homosexual, heterosexual, still finding who they are, bisexual. And one thing about me is whenever I go out on a night out, I always have my guard up. Maybe people find me intimidating. I don't know why. That night, I remember I felt so free and so comfortable with the people I was with. I met some amazing people, amazing friends who are still my friends till today. And that completely changed my perspective. Just having hour-long conversations, D&Ms with people. And it made me realize how these people are just random, and I just met them tonight. However, it's just the people that I had to hang out with. They were so accepting, so fun, so, in a way, how should I say this? Had no prejudices against me. Because sometimes I meet people and I could just, you get that vibe where, they may have some sort of prejudice against you, maybe because of the color you are, because of the name, because of, the religion that you may have, that I am. But yeah, that night I just felt so free, so comfortable, and so welcome. And more welcome than some of the friends that I hang out with. Made me question, like, hey, I've known some of my friends since primary school, and I've never felt that free around them. Anywho, so that changed a lot about me. A lot of my perspective on homosexuality. That wasn't the last time I got bumped into them. I bumped into them quite often, actually. And one time I was at a party. I wanted to know their history. So I asked this person, so tell me about yourself. And they told me that, hey, yeah, they also come from a religious background. They also come from a conservative household, just like myself, so I could relate to that. They also mentioned that they had children. They also mentioned that they are divorced. So I asked him, I said, hey, if you don't mind me asking you, when did you find out about yourself? He said to me when he was 18 years old. And in my head I'm thinking, wow, he knew who he was. He knew he was homosexual. I thought of it in my way, like if I was in his shoes, how would that go down? You've come from a religious family, you come from a conservative family, and you know about yourself, and you know that your family may not be accepting of you. So what do? So he decided to get married to save face, had children. He came out to his family. That must have been a very, very big event for him. In my head, I'm thinking that was so brave of him to do, and I look up to him. I find him very, very inspiring. There's always something to learn from him every time I meet him. And on top of that, his voice is so calm. His voice is so calm. Every time I go see him, there's always things in my head, and when he talks to me, it clears my head. My voice is just shaking just talking, because I know that he listens. And of course I know you're listening, and I just wanted to say I love you so much, and you know who you are. Knowing who he is and how he is completely changed my perspective on homosexuality. And now that I look back on the times when I used to be homophobic, I used to think, wow, that's so narrow-minded of me. I wish I could have met this person earlier. I've been able to argue back, tell them, hey, look, this is, you have your opinion, you have your right to think the way you want to think, but this is my opinion. This is my opinion used to be so-and-so. My opinion has now changed to so-and-so because of these certain people who I've met. I'm glad to say, and I'm quite happy to say, that I have changed people's perspective and the way they think about homosexual people.
And I mean, that's the most important thing about this, and like we do on this podcast, is education. Like, when you educate people, it means there's change happening. And you were someone that had a stricter upbringing. The influences around you kind of, fed into your own homophobia. And then once you got to actually meet people and do your own research and make a connection with someone on a deeper level, it opened your eyes. And not only did that change your own mindset, but you're taking that into other relationships you have with other people who might still have homophobic views, and you're sticking up for them. And that's really great, because not a lot of people can defend their own beliefs against people who have different views.
Oh, definitely, 100% right. If you don't, if you're lying to yourself, you're lying to not just yourself, you're lying to the world. You're lying to the people that love you, you're lying to the people that you love. Be who you are, because that is completely normal. I've met plenty of other people as well who are homosexual, and I've asked them, hey, when did you find out about yourself? 9 out of 10 times. Actually, I would say 10 out of 10 times. They've always said they've always knew. And these people are not mature, they're quite young. I'd say in the 20s. So obviously you haven't spent that long on this world, yet they still know. They've always known about themselves, and this isn't something that you decide to explore into. This is something that you are born with, I would say. I
wanted to thank you for coming on, because I know you were a bit hesitant to share your side, and it is a really scary thing to admit that you used to have homophobic views. I mean, for anybody to kind of think that you thought so obscurely, it's not comfortable to say that or to admit it. So I really do thank you for coming on and actually sharing this view of yours, because I mean, obviously like you said, you don't have these views now, and with education, and I think by meeting people and actually having a conversation, you get to know about a person, and you realize, like you said, sometimes people don't have a choice. They're not choosing to live a lifestyle, they're just being themselves.
100%. If you are homophobic, or if you have those homophobic views, I would highly recommend you to go out, get out of your comfort zone, and go meet
go spend some time at the court. Person. Go to Connie's. Just chill out there.
Oh, 100%. Go to Connections, go to the court. I'm telling you, on live, they are the most amazing people I've ever met in my entire life. Yeah, having said that, I've picked up more guys being a cis male myself than I've picked up more girls.
I'm not surprised. Well, like I said, thank you for coming on and sharing your story, and it's been really nice having you on again, as always, Pool Boy.
Thank you very much, and to the listeners who I hang out with quite often, I love you guys so much.
It's story time.
All right, so you have a horse story to share today.
It's almost like a horse story, but like also like kind of a confession.
Oh, juicy confession.
And the reason I say it's a confession is because you haven't heard this either, and it kind of involves you too.
Okay, where's my popcorn? Okay, I need my Ventolin.
Okay, so this was a while back when, I mean, what even is horse stories really? It's just us dishing out like what we do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's not abnormal for either one of us to have sex in our personal lives. It's pretty common, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, okay, cool. So I'll take you back to a little bit a while ago, and I was having relations with somebody. And as you do, it's no shame. Sometimes you don't have all the equipment that you need, right? So I need a little bit of lube. Everyone does at some point. It's nothing to be ashamed of, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we're good. We're following along. Are you trying to figure out how this involves you?
Yeah, I'm slightly confused and a bit worried.
Okay.
Not gonna lie, mate. Keep going. Just get it out. Just get it done.
Okay, so yeah, so it's a buyback, and you go need a little bit of lube, and this was when I was house sitting for you.
I'm giving you like an absolute death stare right now.
I didn't do anything bad.
Oh my god. Just nah, stop. Nah.
I'm sorry. It's a little bit sick. I'm always sick. Your face right now.
Yeah, because I want you to tell me. Like, just spit it out.
Okay, so yeah, there was needed a little bit of lube, and you had, for some reason, 7 bottles on your bedside table.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing, but it's just like when you're staying at someone's house, you think, they might leave you like a water bottle or like a mint, some tissues, but there was like 7 lube bottles, and I was like, okay, well, that's relevant. Like, I really need this right now.
That's like super excessive. I never have 7.
You had 7.
No, there's only like 3 on there.
There was like 7.
Nah. Okay, continue. But
You're just like, why did I have so many out?
Yeah.
I only know this because I put them in size order afterwards, because I just thought they were like, looked cute.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyways, you had like a bunch there, and I was just like, I don't recognize any of these. And in my head, I was thinking, I remember Montana talking about these in our podcast. So I did a random pick, right? And I'm like, these are Montana's. Like, obviously, she vouches for them, right? And so I use one, and I'm not even kidding. Like 2 seconds later, I was on fire. Like, everything burned. I was in so much pain. I literally picked up the bottle. I was like, what the fuck did I use?
Oh, God.
But it was just normal lube. I think it was like maybe like a tingling one or like a minty one or something.
So, was it the one that was in like a purple kind of like square-shaped bottle, and it had like a kind of like wooden...
No, it wasn't that one. It wasn't that. I know which one you're talking about that one is,
Yeah.
but no, that wasn't it. I can't even remember what it was. It burned so much. I went to your bathroom, cleaned up, and it was like minty fresh. Like, when you have bubble gum and then you drink cold water, like that sensation was down there, and I hated it.
I'm trying to think which one it is, because I really only got like maybe like... Oh, wait. Was it pink?
Babe, don't know.
Okay, because that one is... Yeah, it's hot. Like, it's designed to like kind of... have that really cooling sensation, but like not to the point where it burns, so that you might have had a reaction to it.
Oh, it just was so bad. And like, I came back in, and then he was feeling uncomfortable too, because it was on him. It just was just not a fun time.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, but it was funny because I think I remember him saying, it was just like, oh, this was Montana like not letting us have fun. Cock blocking from afar. But yeah, no, that was that was not a fun time at all. And I remember just being so scarred and traumatized. I didn't have sex for the rest of the week.
Oh God, was it that bad?
It just was so bad. And I was just thinking, I was like, what kind of weird shit is she doing up in here? Like, because the thing is, I was like looking at all of them, and they all seemed to have like the same sort of like vibe. They were all kind of like tingling or like sensation ones. And I'm like, is this woman's vagina made of like fucking stone? Like, how is she doing? Is this why she could not feel the Camagra?
Yeah, we've learnt that lesson. No more Camagra. Shut up. Leave me alone.
That's all we have time for today. I hope you enjoyed tuning into Project S.L.U.T. Stay safe, stay whorish, and we'll see you soon.